First contact. The vast expanse of space stretched before Captain Zhou Chen as she gazed out the viewport of the Earth Alliance starship Odyssey. Stars twinkled in the distance, a silent reminder of the countless worlds humanity had yet to explore. Zhou's weathered face, etched with the lines of countless missions, reflected her years of experience navigating the treacherous waters of interstellar diplomacy. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual signal," Lieutenant Ravi Patil called out from his station, his voice tinged with excitement. "It doesn't match any known Earth Alliance or neutral signatures." Zhou's eyebrow arched as she strode over to Ravi's console. "Show me," she commanded, her curiosity piqued. The screen flickered to life, displaying a chaotic mess of data streams and fragmented transmissions. "It appears to be a distress signal, ma'am," Ravi explained, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "But the encryption, I've never seen anything like it." Zhou's mind raced with possibilities. In the decades since humanity had taken its first tentative steps into the galaxy, they had encountered numerous alien species. Some were allies, others remained neutral, and a few had proven to be formidable adversaries. But this was something entirely new. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Zhou asked, her voice steady despite the excitement building within her. Ravi nodded, bringing up a star chart. "It's coming from a system just beyond the Orion Arm. No known settlements or outposts in the area." Zhou straightened, her decision made in an instant. "Helm, set a course for those coordinates. Maximum warp." As the Odyssey surged forward, slipping into the swirling vortex of warped space, Zhou couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something momentous. First contact situations were always delicate, fraught with potential misunderstandings and cultural pitfalls. But they were also opportunities, chances to bridge the gap between species and expand the boundaries of known space. Hours ticked by as the Odyssey hurtled through the cosmos. Zhou used the time to brief her crew, emphasizing the importance of caution and open-mindedness. "Remember," she told them, her voice carrying the weight of command, "we represent not just Earth, but all of humanity. Our actions here could have far-reaching consequences." As they dropped out of warp, the scene before them took their breath away. A massive ship, easily twice the size of the Odyssey, hung suspended in space. Its design was unlike anything they had ever encountered. All sweeping curves and iridescent surfaces that seemed to shimmer and shift as they watched. But the beauty of the alien vessel was marred by clear signs of distress. Sections of the hull were scorched and torn, and erratic energy fluctuations rippled across its surface. "Life signs?" Zhou asked, her eyes never leaving the view screen. "Affirmative," responded Dr. Ilara Santos, the ship's xenobiologist. "But they're weak and fading fast. Whatever happened to that ship, Captain, its crew is in serious trouble." Zhou's jaw set with determination. The risks were enormous. This could be a trap, or their help might be seen as an act of aggression. But the alternative, leaving sentient beings to die when they had the power to help, was unthinkable. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." Ravi complied, and Zhou stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "This is Captain Zhou Chen of the Earth Alliance starship Odyssey. We've received your distress call and are here to offer assistance. Please respond." Seconds stretched into minutes as they waited, the tension on the bridge palpable. And then, just as Zhou was about to repeat her message, the view screen flickered to life. The alien that appeared was breathtaking. Humanoid in general shape, but with skin that shimmered like polished opal and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. Its features were etched with pain and fear, but there was an unmistakable intelligence in its gaze. "I am Syra." The alien spoke, its voice melodious despite the obvious strain. "Of the Velderi Concordance. Please, help us." With those simple words, the die was cast. Humanity's first encounter with the Velderi had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The rescue. The next few moments were a flurry of activity as Zoe and her crew sprang into action. Years of training and countless simulations had prepared them for this moment, but the reality of rescuing an unknown alien species added an extra layer of complexity to their task. Dr. Santos, gather your medical team and prepare for possible alien physiology, Zoe commanded. Lieutenant Patel, work on establishing a stable communication link. We need to understand what we're dealing with. As her crew rushed to comply, Zoe turned her attention back to the alien on the screen. His iris form seemed to flicker and waver, whether from the failing systems of their ship or some inherent property of Veldari biology. Zoe couldn't be sure. Tyra, Zoe said, her voice calm and reassuring. We're preparing a rescue team now. Can you tell us what happened to your ship? The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to cloud over for a moment before focusing again. We were attacked. Kyra managed, each word clearly an effort. Rogue faction, our own people. They seek to prevent. Before Kyra could finish, the communication cut out abruptly. Zoe's heart raced as she processed this new information. Not only were they dealing with a new alien species, but apparently one embroiled in some kind of internal conflict. Captain, Ravi called out, his voice urgent. The Veldari ship's power systems are failing rapidly. We have maybe 30 minutes before total collapse. Zoe nodded grimly. Understood. Prep the shuttle. I'll lead the rescue team myself. Her first officer, Commander Jack Harper, stepped forward, concern etched on his face. Captain, with all due respect, that's too risky. We don't know what we're walking into. Which is precisely why I need to go, Zoe countered. This is first contact, Jack. The Veldari need to see that we're willing to put ourselves on the line for them. It could make all the difference. Reluctantly, Jack nodded. As Zoe made her way to the shuttle bay, she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. This was why she had joined the Earth Alliance. To explore, to make a difference, to push the boundaries of human experience. The shuttle ride to the Veldari ship was tense. Alongside Zoe were Dr. Santos, Lieutenant Kagami, a skilled engineer, and 2 security officers. As they approached, the true scale of the alien vessel became apparent. Its hull seemed to ripple and shift, as if it were alive. Incredible, Dr. Santos breathed, her scientific curiosity overtaking her apprehension. Their technology. It's like nothing we've ever seen. As they docked with the Veldari ship, Zoe steeled herself. Remember, she told her team, we're here to help, but stay alert. We don't know what kind of welcome we'll receive. The airlock cycled, and they stepped into a world beyond their wildest imaginations. The interior of the Veldari ship was a maze of organic-looking corridors that pulsed with a faint bioluminescence. The air was thick with an otherworldly scent, not unpleasant, but alien in every sense of the word. They hadn't gone far when they encountered their first Veldari. The alien was slumped against a wall, its opalescent skin dulled with pain. Dr. Santos rushed forward, her medical tricorder already whirring to life. Captain, she called out, her voice a mix of awe and concern. Their biology. It's incredible. They seem to exist partially in a state of quantum superposition. No wonder our sensors had trouble getting clear readings. Zoe knelt beside the injured Veldari, locking eyes with the alien. We're here to help, she said slowly, hoping her intent would transcend the language barrier. The Veldari's eyes widened, a cascade of colors rippling across its skin. It spoke, the words unintelligible, but the tone unmistakably one of relief and gratitude. As they made their way deeper into the ship, treating injured Veldari as they went, Zoe couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Not by the aliens they were rescuing, but by something else, something hidden in the shadows of this vast and strange vessel. They found Syra in what appeared to be the ship's control center. The Veldari leader was in bad shape, its form flickering in and out of phase with alarming frequency. Zoe said, approaching slowly. "We're here to help you and your people." The alien's eyes locked onto Zoe, a spark of recognition flaring. "Captain Chen," Agzira managed, its voice weak but clear. "You came, despite the danger. Why?" Zoe smiled, her hand hovering near Kyra's shoulder, unsure if touch would be welcome or even possible given the Veldari's strange physiology. "Because it was the right thing to do," she said simply. "And because out here, in the vastness of space, we have to look out for each other. Humanity has learned that lesson the hard way." A tremor ran through the ship, and alarms began to blare. Lieutenant Kagemi's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, we're out of time. The ship's power core is going critical." Zoe made a split-second decision. "We're taking as many as we can. Agzira, can you tell your people to head for our shuttle?" The Veldari leader nodded, a burst of color emanating from its body. Throughout the ship, the remaining Veldari began to move with purpose, heading towards the Earth Alliance shuttle. As they rushed back through the twisting corridors, half carrying Kyra between them, Zoe's mind raced. They had come here to perform a rescue, but she realized they had stumbled into something much bigger. The mention of a rogue faction, the strange attack, there was more going on here than a simple accident in space. They'd reached the shuttle just as another violent tremor shook the Veldari ship. As they took off, Zoe watched through the view screen as the massive alien vessel shuddered and then, in a silent explosion of light and color, disintegrated into the void. Back on the Odyssey, as Dr. Santos and her team worked to treat the rescued Veldari, Zoe found herself standing before Kyra once again. The alien leader looked better already, its form more stable, the colors of its skin brighter and more vibrant. "You have saved us, Captain Chen," Kyra said, its voice musical and clear now that it was no longer filtered through failing communication systems. "And in doing so, you may have changed the course of galactic history." Zoe raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Kyra's expression turned grave. "What I tried to tell you earlier. The rogue faction that attacked us, they seek to prevent an alliance between our peoples. They believe that humanity's presence in the galaxy will upset the balance of power." "And what do you believe?" Zoe asked, sensing the weight of the moment. Zyra's skin rippled with a palette of colors that Zoe was beginning to recognize as a smile. "I believe that your actions today have proven them wrong. Humanity may be young among the stars, but you have shown wisdom and compassion beyond your years." As Zyra spoke, Zoe felt a shiver run down her spine. She had set out to perform a rescue, but it seemed they had stumbled into something much larger. A galactic game of politics and power where humanity was an unexpected wild card. "What happens now?" she asked. Zyra's eyes seemed to look past Zoe, into some unknowable future. "Now, Captain Chen, we must prepare, for the Veldari Concordance will not take this attack lightly, and I fear that greater conflicts lie ahead. But thanks to you and your crew, we now face them not as strangers, but as allies." As Zoe absorbed the magnitude of what had transpired, she knew that their journey was only beginning. Humanity had taken its first steps onto a much larger stage, and the galaxy would never be the same. Pursuit and revelation. The Odyssey streaked through space, its warp engines pushed to the limit. Behind them, barely visible on long-range sensors, a fleet of Veldari ships gave chase. But these weren't the shimmering, organic vessels of Tyra's people. These were darker, more angular, the ships of the rogue faction that had attacked the Veldari diplomatic vessel. On the bridge, Captain Zoe Chen's face was a mask of concentration as she called out orders. "Ravi, keep an eye on those pursuit vectors. Helm, prepare for evasive pattern Delta 7 on my mark." Beside her, Tyra stood, its opalescent skin rippling with concern. The Veldari leader had insisted on remaining on the bridge, feeling responsible for the danger the human ship now faced. "I am sorry, Captain," Tyra said, its melodious voice tinged with regret. "We have brought this conflict to your doorstep." Zoe shook her head, offering a reassuring smile. You're not responsible for the actions of extremists. We made the choice to help you, and we stand by that decision." A warning klaxon blared, cutting off any further conversation. "Captain," Ravi called out, his voice urgent. "They're powering up weapons." "Evasive maneuvers, now," Zoe commanded. The Odyssey banked hard, narrowly avoiding a barrage of energy weapons that lit up the space around them. As the ship rocked from a glancing blow, Cyrus' form seemed to flicker and shift. "Captain," the alien said, its voice taking on a new urgency, "there is something you must know. The reason for this pursuit, it's not just about preventing an alliance between our peoples." Zoe raised an eyebrow, even as she called out more orders to her crew. "I'm listening." Cyrus' eyes seemed to swirl with galaxies as it spoke. "My ship, we were carrying data. Information that could change the balance of power in this sector of the galaxy. The rogue faction, they call themselves the Purists. They believe this information should be destroyed." "What kind of information?" Zoe asked, her mind racing with possibilities. Before Cyrus could answer, another impact rocked the ship. "Hull breach on Deck 7. Someone called out. "Emergency force fields holding." Zoe made a split-second decision. We can't outrun them forever. "Helm, set a course for the Tanarus Nebula. We're going in." The view screen filled with swirling clouds of gas and dust as the Odyssey plunged into the nebula. Sensor readings became unreliable, and visibility dropped to almost zero. But it was their best chance to lose their pursuers. As the ship navigated the treacherous currents of the nebula, Cyrus continued its explanation. "The data we carry, it's the key to unlocking a network of ancient stargates left behind by a long-vanished civilization. These gates could revolutionize travel across the galaxy, opening up new worlds and opportunities for all species." Pursuit and revelation. Zoe's eyes widened at the revelation. Ancient stargates that could revolutionize galactic travel. The implications were staggering, and the Purists want to destroy this information. Why? Thyra's skin rippled with a complex pattern that Zoe was beginning to recognize as a sign of deep emotion. "They fear change, Captain. The Purists believe that such power should not be shared, that it would upset the natural order of things. They see humanity's rapid advancement as a threat, and these stargates would only accelerate your species' integration into the galactic community." A realization dawned on Zoe. That's why they attacked your ship. They weren't just trying to prevent an alliance. They were after the data. Cyrus nodded solemnly. "Precisely. And now they pursue us with equal fervor." The ship shuddered as another energy blast grazed their shields. The nebula provided some cover, but the Purists were relentless in their pursuit. "Captain," Lieutenant Kagami called out from her engineering station, "I have an idea. The nebula's charged particles. We might be able to use them to mask our warp signature and throw off their sensors." Zoe nodded, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Do it, Lieutenant. Ravi, work with her to recalibrate our shields. We need every advantage we can get." As the crew worked feverishly to implement Kagami's plan, Zoe turned back to Exara. "This data, where is it now?" The Velderi's form seemed to flicker for a moment before stabilizing. "It is here," Exira said, tapping its temple. "The information was encoded into my neural pathways for safekeeping. It's why the Purists are so determined to capture me specifically." Zoe's mind raced with the implications. No wonder the Purists were willing to go to such lengths. If what Cyrus said was true, the alien standing before her held the key to reshaping the galaxy. "Captain," Ravi's excited voice cut through her thoughts. "It's working. The nebula's interference combined with our recalibrated shields. We're practically invisible to their sensors." A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. They weren't out of danger yet, but they had bought themselves some time. Zoe turned to Xyra, her expression serious. "We need to get you and that information to safety. Is there somewhere we can take you? Someone we can trust?" Syra's skin shimmered with a pattern Zoe hadn't seen before, something between hope and uncertainty. There is a secret Veldari outpost, hidden on the third moon of Altair Prime. My most trusted advisors are there, along with technology that can help us decrypt and utilize the Stargate data. Zoe nodded, her decision made. Then that's where we're headed. Helm, set a course for Altair Prime, maximum warp as soon as we clear the nebula. As the Odyssey prepared to make its daring escape, Zoe couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. What had started as a simple rescue mission had turned into something that could alter the course of galactic history. She looked at Syra, seeing not just an alien, but a friend, someone who had trusted humanity when others of their kind wanted to push them aside. "We'll get you there safely," she promised. "And then, together, we'll figure out what to do with this information. If these stargates can truly benefit all species, then maybe this is our chance to show the galaxy what humanity stands for." Syra's skin glowed with a warm, golden light, a sign of gratitude and hope. "You continue to surprise me, Captain Chen. Perhaps it is no accident that our paths crossed. Together, we may yet forge a future brighter than either of our species could have imagined alone." As the Odyssey burst from the nebula, its warp engines flaring to life, Zoe felt a surge of determination. They were no longer just running from the purists. They were racing towards a new future, one where humanity and the Veldari would stand side by side. The stars streaked past on the view screen, and with them, the old boundaries and limitations seemed to fall away. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Zoe knew that they would face them not as separate species, but as allies united by a common vision of a more connected, more collaborative galaxy. The pursuit had brought revelation, and with it, the promise of an adventure beyond anything Zoe had ever dreamed. As the Odyssey hurtled towards Altair Prime, she couldn't help but feel that this was only the beginning of a much greater journey. The battle for truth. The Odyssey dropped out of warp in the Altair system, the blue-green orb of Altair Prime dominating the view screen. Its third moon, a craggy, pockmarked satellite, loomed before them, the hidden sanctuary of Syra's trusted allies and the repository of technology that could unlock the secrets of the ancient stargates. But their arrival had not gone unnoticed. As they approached the moon, proximity alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple ships decloaking. Ravi shouted, his fingers flying across his console. Veldari signatures, but they don't match Syra's faction. "Captain, I think the purists beat us here." Zoe's jaw clenched as she surveyed the tactical display. At least a dozen purist ships had emerged from hiding, their weapons already powering up. "How did they know?" she muttered before turning to Syra. "Is there any chance your outpost has defenses we can call on?" Syra's skin pulsed with worried colors. "Yes, but I fear the purists may have already neutralized them. We need to get a signal through to my people on the surface." "Agreed," Zoe nodded. "Ravi, focus on breaking through any communication jamming. Helm, evasive pattern Omega. We need to buy ourselves some time." The Odyssey danced through space, narrowly avoiding the first salvo from the purist ships. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. Without help, it would only be a matter of time before their luck ran out. As the battle raged, Zoe's mind raced. They needed a plan, something unexpected that the purists wouldn't see coming. Her eyes fell on the moon's cratered surface, and an idea began to form. "Kagami," she called out to her chief engineer, "those modifications we made to the shields in the nebula, can we reverse them? Instead of absorbing energy, could we emit a pulse on the same frequency as the moon's mineral composition?" Kagami's eyes lit up with understanding. "A geomagnetic pulse. It might just work, Captain. Give me 2 minutes." As Kagami worked her magic in engineering, the rest of the crew fought to keep the ship in one piece. Shield strength was dropping, and hull breaches were being reported on multiple decks. "Whatever you're planning, Captain," Kyra said, its voice strained, "I suggest we do it quickly." Zoe nodded grimly. Helm, on my mark, I want you to take us into a low orbit, skimming the moon's surface. Ravi, be ready with that communications burst. We'll only have one shot at this. The next moments were a blur of activity. The Odyssey dove towards the moon, weaving through a hail of weapons fire. At the last possible second, Zoe gave the order. Now. A massive pulse of energy erupted from the ship, interacting with the moon's magnetic field. The result was spectacular. A shimmering aurora of electromagnetic energy that engulfed both the Odyssey and the pursuing Purist ships. For a moment, everything electronic went dark. But Kagami had prepared for this. The Odyssey's systems came back online within seconds, while the Purist ships floundered. Communications are open, Ravi shouted triumphantly. Zitara stepped forward, its skin glowing with determination. It spoke rapidly in the musical language of the Veldari, and almost immediately, the surface of the moon came alive. Hidden defense systems activated, targeting the disabled Purist ships with pinpoint accuracy. As the tide of battle turned, a new voice came over the comm system. The leader of the Veldari outpost. Zyra, thank the ancestors you're safe. We received your data transmission. The Stargate network, it's more vast than we ever imagined. Zoe allowed herself a small smile of victory, but she knew the real challenge was just beginning. Zyra, she said, turning to her alien friend, I think it's time we had a talk with the Purist leadership. This conflict needs to end, for all our sakes. Zyra nodded, its eyes swirling with a mix of emotions. You're right, Captain. But be warned, they will not easily let go of their beliefs. Over the next few hours, as the Purist ships were corralled and their crews detained, Zoe and Sarah prepared for the most important diplomatic meeting of their lives. The fate of not just their two species, but potentially the entire galaxy hung in the balance. The Purist leader, a Veldari named Zorn, was brought aboard the Odyssey under heavy guard. Its skin was a dark, stormy gray, a stark contrast to Xyra's opalescent glow. In the ship's conference room, Zoe looked from Xyra to Zorn, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. We're here to talk, she began, her voice firm but not unkind. The Stargates are real. The data is verified. Now we need to decide together what we're going to do with this knowledge. In a dimly lit futuristic setting with metallic walls and machinery in the background, an alien girl with blue skin and long, white hair stands in shock, facing the human soldier clad in advanced, dark armor. The alien girl's large, pointed ears and wide eyes convey her surprise and gratitude. The human soldier's body language is calm and protective, suggesting a recent act of bravery. The scene captures a poignant moment of unexpected heroism and cross-species connection, emphasizing themes of compassion, surprise, and unity in a sci-fi setting. A new beginning. In the months that followed the confrontation at Altair Prime, the galaxy witnessed a transformation unlike any in recent memory. The revelation of the ancient Stargate network sent shockwaves through every spacefaring civilization, and at the center of it all stood the unlikely alliance between humanity and the Veldari. Captain Zoe Chen found herself thrust into a role she had never anticipated, that of a diplomat and peacekeeper on a galactic scale. The Odyssey, once a simple exploration vessel, had become a symbol of cooperation and progress. On this particular day, Zoe stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive space habitat that orbited a newly activated Stargate. The station was a marvel of joint human and Veldari engineering, its organic curves blending seamlessly with sleek metallic structures. Beside her, Zyra's form shimmered with barely contained excitement. "It is time, my friend," the Veldari said, its melodious voice filled with anticipation. Zoe nodded, taking a deep breath to steady her nerves. In a few moments, they would officially activate the first Stargate in the network, opening a pathway to a distant part of the galaxy it had, until now, been months of travel away even at maximum warp. As they made their way to the control center, Zoe marveled at how much had changed. Representatives from a dozen different species lined the corridors, each having sent their best and brightest to witness this historic moment. Even a contingent of former purists, led by Zorn, was present, a testament to the power of diplomacy and shared goals. In the control center, a hush fell over the assembled crowd as Zoe and Sarah took their positions. The Stargate loomed large on the main view screen, its ancient structure humming with dormant energy. Zoe turned to address the gathered representatives, her voice clear and strong. Today, we stand on the brink of a new era. This Stargate represents not just a technological marvel, but a symbol of what we can achieve when we work together. Each of our species brings unique strengths and perspectives, and together, we are greater than the sum of our parts. Cyrus stepped forward, its skin glowing with a warm golden light. Let this moment mark the beginning of a new age of exploration, cooperation, and understanding. May the paths we open today lead us to a brighter future for all. With a nod from Zoe, the activation sequence began. The Stargate's inner ring began to spin, picking up speed as ancient symbols locked into place. A brilliant blue event horizon burst forth, stabilizing into a shimmering portal. A cheer went up from the assembled crowd, and Zoe felt a swell of emotion in her chest. This was why she had joined the Earth Alliance, to be part of something greater, to push the boundaries of what was possible. As the initial euphoria settled, the real work began. Probes were sent through the Stargate, returning with data about a solar system that had never before been explored. Plans were made for the first manned mission, with a crew comprised of members from multiple species. In the days that followed, Zoe found herself in near-constant meetings, coordinating efforts between different factions and species. It was exhausting work, but deeply rewarding. She watched with pride as human scientists worked side by side with Veldari engineers, pooling their knowledge and pushing the boundaries of their understanding. One evening, as she took a rare moment of quiet on the observation deck, Zoe was joined by Zorn. The former purist leader's demeanor had softened considerably since their first confrontation. "I owe you an apology, Captain Chen," Zorn said, its voice carrying a hint of remorse. "We were wrong about humanity. Your species has shown a capacity for growth and adaptation that is admirable." Zoe offered a small smile. "We all have room to grow and learn from each other. That's the beauty of this endeavor. It's bringing out the best in all of us." As they stood in comfortable silence, watching ships of various designs move about the busy space around Harmony Station, Zoe reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From a chance rescue in deep space to the cusp of a new age of galactic exploration, it was almost too much to believe. The Stargate network was already changing the political and economic landscape of known space. New alliances were forming, trade routes were being redrawn, and the spirit of exploration was igniting imaginations across the galaxy. But with these changes came new challenges. Not everyone was happy with the rapid pace of change, and there were those who sought to exploit the Stargates for their own gain. Zoe knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but she was committed to seeing this through. As if reading her thoughts, Syra appeared beside her. "You seem troubled, my friend," the Veldari observed. Zoe sighed, running a hand through her hair. "Just thinking about what comes next. We've opened a door, but we don't know what's on the other side." Syra's skin rippled with a pattern that Zoe had come to recognize as reassurance. "That is true of all great endeavors. But remember, we do not face these challenges alone. The bonds we have forged, between our peoples and with others, will be our strength." Zoe nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "You're right, of course. We've come too far to turn back now." As they stood there, watching the Stargate shimmer with possibility, Zoe felt a sense of profound gratitude. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not through conquest or superiority,